Where do Catholics get the traditions of praying to Mary and belief in purgatory?
You started that one.
Yeah, but Paul, you got to go first on one of these. Go. You want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go.
You're a former Catholic.
I'm just trying not to hog the whole thing. That's all. I don't know. Next question. Okay, the belief in purgatory. I do know. I'm not sure about the veneration of Mary. I know that it began in the 4th century. The exact lines of influence, there's various theories about that. The influence of certain revered female deities perhaps influencing some of the early Christians who were converted, and they brought some of their paganism with them. And so there's a long story about that. I'm not sure where the rosary came from. I'm sure there's been people who have investigated the origins of that, but in fact, I remember reading on that years ago, but I can't remember it right now. In terms of purgatory, the origins of the belief are something like this. You find in the early church an attention given to a number of passages in the Bible that talk about temporary punishments for believers. The servant who knows how to do well and doesn't do it will be beaten more than the servant who didn't know to do well. Paul talks about a refining fire, 1 Corinthians 3. Everyone's life will be tried by fire to see what it's made out of: wood, hay, stone, stubble, diamond, gold, and whatnot. There's this purging emphasis that you find. Paul says we'll all stand before the judgment seat of Christ and things like that. And so there was the belief early on that when we die, our character that is not yet fully conformed to the image of Jesus Christ has to be refined. Sanctification in the early church was not optional like it is for many Christians today. It's not just that we're okay with God in principle because of what Jesus did for us, but our lives have to, in fact, be made right with God. And so whatever's not done in this life has to be completed in the next. And so they proposed an interim stage, if you will, where we would be purged. That's what the purgatory theme came from. And you find it was, not everyone believed in it. It was one of those things that some believed and some didn't. It wasn't made into a doctrine. Although Augustine espoused it in some of his works, and because of his authority, it became a doctrine of the church sometime in the Middle Ages. I'm not exactly sure when. I think it was on the 12th or 13th century. Now, what happened is that, unfortunately, the theme of purging your character and ongoing sanctification it was transformed at some point into the idea that you're paying for your sins. And so you go as a punishment, not to be refined, but you go to actually pay for your sins, which, of course, means that Jesus didn't pay for all your sins, which is why Luther and the Protestants that followed him completely want to do away with that category altogether, because nothing can compete with Christ in terms of the sufficiency of his sacrifice for us. And that's the short history of purgatory.